Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of the Get Stuck on Sports TV edition right here on Thumb Coast TV. I'm Brady Beedon. He's Dennis Stuckey. And Dennis, softball, we have two teams left after regional Saturday. We'll start in Division I where I was at. Northern advanced to the regional finals with a 7-4 win over Utica Eisenhower. 2 home runs for Adeline Jones. Shannon Falco put one over the fence. Couple of hits for Cruciano. Umbright had an RBI hit in that game. It was 7-0. Never really an issue. I mean, the 4 runs in the 7th for Ike made it a little interesting. They were never in danger of losing this game. It was a pretty smooth win for Northern to start the day.
Yeah, and we thought that they had the upper hand against Eisenhower. This was a solid district. I thought there were 4 good teams that were there, and I thought Northern going in had as good a chance as anybody to win this thing. And they took care of business in game 1. Again, we know this Husky team can hit. They added power this year and 3 home runs for them in this win. And then they ran into a buzzsaw when we got to the final.
And unfortunately, they fall to Utica Ford 11-0. I don't think the score indicates how far apart these two teams were talent-wise. It was Utica Ford's best day. I mean, they had a little bit of luck. They had the talent that took advantage of it. Their pitcher, Jenna Walters, was twirling. I mean, she was kind of a junk baller that kept Northern off balance. They had a 9-run second inning where I think they had 8 hits, and about 2 of them were hard hit. But you get 4 or 5 bloop singles. Next thing you know, a shot up the gap or one over the fence puts up a crooked number like that. And after it was 11-0, Northern, the air was out of the balloon. They weren't coming back, and they fell in 5 innings in the regional final.
Yeah, again, falling behind big, giving up 9 runs in an inning. Those are all things that are going to deflate your spirits. But again, look at what this team did this year. This was an historic year at Port Huron Northern for girls softball. And I know that they're going to lose the Ramos. They're going to lose Falco. They're going to lose, I think it's Bellinger and a couple other kids off this team. But Betts is only going to get better. Jones is going to be a superstar, and Cruciano might be a superstar too. In fact, Betts might be a superstar before it's all said and done.
They have a really good young crop, and again, first district title in over 2 decades. They were trying to get their first regional title in 45 years. Come up a little short, but I don't think there's anything these Huskies need to hang their head about. With the young talent and some more coming through, I hope for this group of seniors that kind of got thrown to the wolves right away. Like when they came in was when another great senior class left, and there wasn't a lot in between. There were a few nice players in there, but not a lot to fill out a roster, and a lot of these girls played softball and basketball as well, and they kind of got thrown to the wolves as freshmen. To finish off their careers with such a strong season is a great way to see them go out.
Well, the pitching finally caught up a little bit with the hitting, and that's what we've been waiting for at Northern. We've been saying it for the past 3 years. Boy, can they hit if they could ever get the pitching, and this year they got the pitching.
That they did. Again, unfortunately, their season ends in the regional final. Dennis, you were up in Croswell. Richmond and Marysville both went there, and you saw some pretty good pitching performances.
Oh, boy. Katie Shoeboy just reaffirmed that she is sensational, and she was in a pitching duel in Game 1 with Hinkle of Orchard Lake St. Mary's. You knew St. Mary's was going to be good. You knew that this was not going to be an easy game. And Shoeboy gave up a home run to the second batter, then hit the third batter, and then after that, she faced the next 16 hitters and got 15 of them out, and really settled in and didn't give up another run or really a whiff at another run for the next 7 innings. Richmond kind of got a lucky run in the third, but they tied the game at 1 and basically on a strikeout wild pitch where the runner scored from second because Kendall Nader is unbelievably fast. And then the magic moment in the bottom of the 8th when Anna McKiernan finally ran into one. Hinkle finally made a mistake in the middle of the plate, and McKiernan ran into one and homered to center field to walk it off. 3-1 win for Richmond, and they were going to the regional final to play either Marysville or Lakeshore. What we didn't know is that Lakeshore's got an ace, and she was on, and struck out, I think it was 14 Vikings. Now, a little bit, I think Marysville was swinging for the fences and not for, we need to get base runners. They finally got base runners in the 5th inning, got a bases-loaded sacrifice fly to score 1 run, and a wild pitch scored the 2nd run. And that was all Ryan Quain needed, because she twirled in the first game, struck out 12 through a complete game 3-hit shutout, didn't give up really anything hard hit, 3 singles. Marysville didn't really hit the ball hard in that game. So I saw back-to-back pitching duels, which I actually thought Marysville was going to, let's be honest, I thought Marysville was going to beat Lakeshore bad, and it didn't happen. But it kind of gave the Vikings, I thought, maybe the setup for what they'd face in the finals, because you knew Shoeboy was already locked in, and all she did was she retired the first 8 hitters. Then Miller got a single, and I was reading the box score to you. She struck out like the next 7 hitters in a row after giving up a single because they made her angry. She ended up pitching 5, 1 hit, 10 strikeouts, and was unbelievable. Added a home run in the game. Richmond got out to a 7-0 lead. I actually liked that they put Lily Pites in to give her a couple of high-pressure innings, because she's going to be their pitcher next year. And Lily got them those 6 outs that they needed. Marysville scored 3 runs. I want to say 2 of them were unearned. And so it was just Richmond's day. Kendall Nader is a player that wasn't with them early in the season when I saw all their games. She just flies around the bases. Orchard Lake St. Mary's played her with the 3rd baseman halfway to home plate and the 2nd baseman standing next to the pitcher to try to take away the bunt. And she still got on base. And she had got on base 3 times against Marysville with a single, double, triple, and drove in a couple of runs. Richmond's got nice balance, and they have the luxury that they don't have to score a ton of runs to win games. And against Marysville, they actually did score a lot of runs.
Well, the one thing I like about taking Shoeboy out and putting in Pites, you win 7-0, you win 7-3. The trophy's the same size, and it still says regional champs. It doesn't say regional champs with a shutout. It just says regional champions. But the other thing is, all right, if it's districts, you probably let her go the full way and finish it, because you have a whole week to let her get ready. The quarterfinal is Tuesday. That's less than 72 hours between the final out and the first pitch against a Goodrich team who's very solid, and that could end the run for Richmond, but throwing, even if it's 25 less pitches, giving her arm just a little bit of rest. And I know it's softball. It's not the same as baseball. But still, she threw 8 innings, high-pressure innings in Game 1, and you're up 7-0. You kind of get both ends of the sword, where you can get Pite some experience. You can let Shoeboy rest just a little bit more. Again, she has nothing more to prove in that game. Well, everyone knows she's fantastic. She's a senior.
Two more innings isn't going to change Katie's status.
Right.
Everybody knows about Katie Shoeboy by now. But what it does, you've got to think about your program, and when Katie's not going to be there next year, Lily Pites is, and you'd like to have her have some experience. Well, now she's pitched in a regional final. A couple of years ago, she pitched in a district game when Katie had a migraine headache against St. Clair and won that game. That's important experience.
Well, the thing I'll liken it to is we see it with Marine City football. You go back a long time. Jeff Hessop was a great quarterback. He took his first snaps on varsity, really, in a playoff game when they were up, and he got some varsity experience. And then Osterling, got some experience in a playoff game as a freshman. And now Tucker Volkman as a freshman got some experience at quarterback. So it's not all dropped on you next year. It's not like Lily's going to say, hey, I know you had 3 innings pitched on varsity, go win us the BWAC. No, it's a slow accumulation, and I like it because, let's be honest, if Marysville got to the point where it was 7-4 and the bases were loaded, Katie Shoeboy was coming back in the game.
Well, and that's the thing. Lily Pites, I don't think people realize, she won 11 games for them this year.
Yeah, they did. They didn't put in a charity case.
Yeah, no, she's a different pitcher. Obviously, Shoeboy, 240 strikeouts or whatever it is with 9 walks. That's just stupid good. Lily pitches to more contact. She did have a 13 strikeout game this year. But, only 1 strikeout in the last 6 outs, but that's not what she's out there to do. She's out there to pitch contact, weak contact, hopefully, and let her defense make plays. She got the job done.
Well, let's talk about another great pitching performance as Richmond goes on to the quarterfinals. It'll be Tuesday, 6 o'clock at Marysville Park. Dennis will be there, 6 p.m. first pitch when they take on Goodrich. Algonac blanks Wixom St. Catherine 10-0. J.C. Reams goes 6 innings, throws a no-hitter, strikes out 12, walks 4, but still a no-hitter in a regional semifinal. It kind of felt like, yep, all right,
I'll
cool.
live with the 4 walks, especially if you're getting me 12 strikeouts.
Right. Took care of business. Never really had to fight through it. Now, I'll give Clausen some credit. I was not respecting Clausen coming into the game, and they put up a respectable performance. Algonac won 4-2 to win their 4th straight regional title, but Clausen, who was undefeated in the gold, put up a good fight in a big-time game.
Yeah, and this time JC did it with the bat. She hit a home run in this game. And Michael Kennel, again, it's your veteran players who are coming through for Algonac right now. She drove in a couple of runs. I think she had a triple in that game. Murray had a big hit. And the one young player that came through for them, Lainey Molesky, quietly has had a very good season for Algonac this year. And she had a couple of hits.
So Algonac goes to the quarterfinals at Mott Community College. They will play Millington at 1 o'clock on Tuesday. I'll be out there for that one. But Dennis, 4th straight regional title for Algonac. When this run started, I think they had won like 1 or 2 league titles and 1 district in their history. Dennis, you saw them at a district game where they were just trying to get the game over not that long ago.
It wasn't long ago at all where they had girls that were just taking one for the team, and they'd go out and basically slow pitch softball it to home plate so that they threw strikes. And yeah, the score would get out of hand, and they'd go out on 3 pitches, just bunting the ball back to the pitcher to get an inning over with and get out of there because they knew that they couldn't compete. And then all of a sudden, along come Ella Stevenson and Kenna Bomarito, and they start that program in a completely opposite direction. But during that course, J.C. Reams came up as a freshman on those teams. Kennel came up as a young player on those teams. DeWicki, Murray, and those are the players that are leading them now.
Yes, and it's, again, I don't want to, they can still make a great run, but this was supposed to be the down year for Algonac. And again, not lost on me, they have an easier path. Like if you compare, I know they're different divisions, but Richmond had to beat 4 good teams. I mean, I know Lutheran North and Notre Dame Prep aren't state title contenders. They're still good teams. Yes. Algonac had to beat maybe 2 to get there. I'll give Almont, they had to come from behind to beat Almont.
Yeah, they played 3 close games with Almont this year.
Then they beat Clausen, who, you know what, I'll give Clausen their due. But you still got their 4 straight regional titles. There's not a lot of programs in any sport that we cover that boast 4 straight regional titles. And the ones that do are kind of the ones we hold up in legendary status.
Now, if they want to get to the Final Four, and this goes for Richmond too, because Richmond's got to play Goodrich, and Goodrich has got, a pitcher that's going to go to Louisville.
Yeah.
So you're going to see good pitching.
Jaden goes for Goodrich.
If you come out to Marysville Park on tomorrow night or Tuesday night, you're going to see good pitching. Mm-hmm. That game might be in the 20th inning before somebody scores a run. Algonac's going to face a Millington team that is pretty good. This is going to be their toughest test. And if they win this game, I don't care about the games before it. They earn their way to the Final Four.
Absolutely. That's everything that happened in softball over the weekend. We'll take a look at what happened on the baseball diamond. 3 regional champions in baseball. We'll talk about that when we come back here on the Get Stuck on Sports TV edition, right here on Thumb.
From doctor's appointments to work, shopping, and dining adventures, Blue Water Area Transit buses are the lifeline of our community. Depend on us for a ride that connects you to life's essentials. Blue Water Area Transit. Ride the wave.
Riding the bus will avoid the hustle and save you lots of dough. Road rage, don't chance it. Ride Blue Water Transit everywhere you go.
Welcome back to the Get Stuck on Sports TV edition, right here on Thumb Coast TV. Brady Beedon, Dennis Stuckey. And Dennis, let's go to baseball. We have to go back to Wednesday when we had the regional semifinals. Northern, after getting the upset win in the district, fell to Lake Orion 8-1. The pitching ran out for Northern.
Yeah, you know what? And they threw their top 2 guys, too, in this game. They just didn't have the gas, and they didn't have the hitting against Lake Orion.
No, not at all. But, hey, that district title made up for a so-so regular season, puts a good cherry on top of what was not a great season, but now all of a sudden you feel good about it. Let's follow the path of each team. We'll start in Division II with Yale. They beat Lutheran North 7-6.
Yay!
And they, after coming back from down 6-1 against North Branch, they were down 5-1 against Lutheran North. They were down 6-3 going into the 7th inning. They get a few base hits to start, and then with the bases loaded and nobody out, a ground ball that was hit right to second base, and it was directly at the second baseman. I don't know how it went through his legs, but it did. Scored 2 runs, put the tying run at third. They eventually get another base hit, gets that runner in. And with the runner on third, a strike 3 passed ball that got by a pretty darn good catcher gave Yale the win. And their magical run continues, gets them to the regional finals where they play Clio.
Yeah, It's weird how the strikeout pass ball, strikeout wild pitch has kind of played into this postseason in both baseball and softball. But it's a real thing, and it's helped a couple of our local teams.
All right, in the regional finals, they matched up with Clio, a very favorable matchup for them. They went down 1-0 in the second, ripped off 6 straight runs in the third, added a tack-on run late for a 7-1 regional final victory. I believe their first ever baseball regional title and their first one in a male ball-based sport in a long time.
Yeah, this is really nice because Yale, you know, they weren't bad this year, but they weren't great. It was win one, lose one. They were a 500 baseball team that basically split most doubleheaders that they played. And our expectation for them in the postseason, we didn't think they were going to beat North Branch.
No.
We didn't think they were going to get out of their district. They're a fairly young squad. They have some good players. I think Debs is going to be a star for the next couple of years, but like pitching-wise, they're not bad, but there was nobody that blew you away. And here they are. They beat North Branch. They clobber Clio, and they reached the quarterfinals for the first time in a long time, maybe ever.
Yeah, and you know they did what they needed to do to Clio. Now their season came to an end 11-0 to Orchard Lake St. Mary's, one of the top teams in Division II. But again, this is a young group, probably ahead of schedule to where even internally they thought they could get to. Like they knew they were a good team. I don't think they ever really thought that they would get to a quarterfinal this year. Maybe next year or the year after thought they could do it. But they got it done this year. And the one thing I like is just because you're a young team that has success early on doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get back. So they get a couple of come from behind magical wins. they get a favorable matchup in the regional final, and they take care of business and get that trophy. Because who knows, it could be next year you run into a buzzsaw in the regional semifinals, and you might have a better team talent-wise, but your road's tougher and you don't have as much to show for it.
Yeah, and as far as the quarterfinal is concerned, at Orchard Lake St. Mary's, it's win the championship or it was a bad season. Period.
Yeah.
So, they don't have to wait around every couple of years for a good group to come through. They have a good group every year.
Yes, and again, unfortunately, that's where Yale's season ended. Let's go to Cardinal Mooney, because back on Wednesday, they took care of Brown City 11-3. That was expected. They got off. They were up 11-0 in this game. Brown City scored a few runs to make sure they weren't mercied in this one. Then in the regional finals, they were tied at 2 with Unionville-Sebewaing through a few innings, and then a 9-run explosion for Cardinal Mooney. They win it 11-2. That was all expected. Another regional title for Cardinal Mooney.
Yeah, really through the regional, we looked at all their matchups and said, well, they're better than this team. They're better than They were the favorite in every game that they were going to play till they get to the quarterfinal, and then they were going to be tested.
Yes, they matched up with a good team in Plymouth Christian. It's where the Super Saturday event was held, at Plymouth Christian, and it was
top 10 team.
It was a 2-1 game going into the fourth. Mooney was on top, and Plymouth Christian put up a run in every inning thereafter and gets a 6-2 win to knock off Cardinal Mooney. And for Mooney, it's tough to balance, because on the one hand, they've done everything the last 5 years but win a state title. They've won a Catholic League title. They've made it to the state finals. They've gone to the Final Four twice. They have had just unbelievable talent at Cardinal Mooney. It's hard to win a state championship, and that's the one thing that's eluded them. So from that perspective, it's kind of like, well, we didn't get that final jewel in our crown. It's a bad season. But on the other hand, I think this is now 4 out of 5 years with a regional title. And this is 7 straight district titles. This was a program, I think 10 years ago. Now Coach Bowen's taken over, and it's been a seamless transition. But when Mike Rice took over, you ask him about the first tryout he had. He talks about kids showing up in jeans, no gloves. This is not a program that has 40 years of excellence. It's fairly new to this, and while the run's amazing right now, it's never going to last forever. So yes, it is disappointing that you didn't get back to Michigan State and play for a chance at a state title, but you ask some programs that thought, we're never going to lose a regional again, that we're just expected to get back there. It ends at some point, and it's not right now, so enjoy that if you're Cardinal Mooney.
And there wasn't really a ton of buildup. They went from being not talked about to almost immediately they're winning regionals every year.
Right. I think their first one was in 2018 or 2019, and they've been in one every year since then.
Yeah.
So it's, again, a very strong team. Just, hey, you played another good team. It's baseball. You're going to win half the games against other really good teams. And unfortunately, it was Plymouth Christian's turn on Saturday.
Yeah. But another good run for Cardinal Mooney. Again, they're looking at it as we don't want any attaboys, but attaboy.
Yeah, it's, again, you're still missing the one big one, but there's a lot of programs around the state that would kill to be in your position. Now let's go to the big story of the weekend. Marine City, they won a district in Algonac last week, and they beat Algonac in a tight game, but they found a way to get a win, a 1-run win over Algonac.
They were down in this game, too.
Yeah, and they come back and they win it, and we're like, you know what? That's a nice job by Marine City. 2 years ago, they had broken, I think, a 17-year drought of not winning a district. They moved down to D3. Algonac's been a pretty good program, too. It's the first time they hadn't won a district since 2021. So, that was a nice feather in the cap for Marine City. And after that happened, I'm like, as a kind of a neutral party where we cover them, but we're not like diehard orange and black, I can say Mariner baseball had a good year. Matt Goldchamp's district champions, they have had a successful season. Well, you went down and you saw them beat Rochester Hills Lutheran Northwest. And they won 6-2. It wasn't a blowout, but they were never in danger.
No, they got off to a great start in this one. They were up 2-0 after one. They actually had a player thrown out at the plate for the final out in the second. Got another run in the third to get up 3-0. Gave a run back on an error to make it 3-1, but weren't phased. Immediately scored 2 runs to go up 5-1. And yeah, they cruised to a 6-2 victory in this one. And Volkman, Tucker Volkman, freshman, comes in. Again, he doesn't really throw the ball hard. He just kind of junks it up there. A lot of curveballs, a lot of off-speed stuff. But he doesn't get hit really hard. He only gave up 2 hits in the game until the 7th. Then he gave up a couple of singles. Van de Viver had to come in and close it out for him. But no problems. A win for the Mariners, and I thought they looked pretty impressive.
Yeah, and no, that's a nice win. They hadn't played for a regional title but one time in their history. I think that was 2007 or 06 or 07, somewhere in there, was the one time they played for a regional title. So they get back there and you're going, wow, this is an excellent season. And they're going out to Millington and you're looking at the draw and it's, okay, Millington's a team they can beat. And the other two, on the other side of the bracket, 2 teams they could beat. They're probably not the favorite. But, at this point, it's kind of, let's just see what happens. They're a nice team. Well, they beat up Millington. They were up 6-0 in this game. Now, Millington got 4 runs back to make it interesting. But Danny Van de Viver pitches well enough, gets them through 5 innings. Cooper Letson comes in and slams the door. 6 up, 6 down. And Marine City has their first regional title ever.
Yeah, it's always so good if you can get out to a big lead. It just takes so much pressure off of everything you do, and they didn't fold in the end. Letson, the veteran guy on the team, said, no problem, Millington's coming back, but they're not coming back.
So then Marine City gets to the quarterfinal, and we always talk about when you're planning out a run, Volkman's been one of the guys they've relied on. Van de Viver is as well. Letson pitches, but it's usually in relief. And then they get to the quarterfinal and they go, so who's going to pitch? Because they don't have really any arms left. They turn to the senior Paul Muscat, who had thrown 5 innings this year. That's not a lot.
No.
That's not a lot to pitch in a quarterfinal, which is arguably the biggest game in Marine City baseball history. And what does he do? He doesn't overwhelm them, but 3 1/3 innings of strong baseball.
He gave up 1 hit.
1 hit, only strikes out 1, and Marine City gets out to a big lead, and they end up roaring past Lansing Catholic 10-4. The closest this ever was after Marine City put up 4 in the 3rd. Lansing Catholic made it 4-2. Next half inning, bang, 8-2. Marine City's up. And I think where everyone, not just at that region, but looking around the state, went, oh, that's where Marine City's run will end. Marine City wins this game like they're supposed to. Like, yeah, we're going to the state semifinals.
Yeah, a 10-4 win. All 4 runs they gave up were unearned. So the pitching did just fine. And
Cooper Letson came in to finish the game, by the way.
And the hitting, this Mariner lineup, up and down, they can hit. I think Hosky had a big double and drove in 3, and I think it was the hit that blew the game open. And Droptini had a couple of hits and knocked in 4 runs. So they get it. It's not always the same guys, but they get it up and down the lineup. Blunden had another extra base hit in this game. Gabler had 2 or 3 hits against Lutheran Northwest. He had a couple of hits in the Lansing Catholic game. Out of the 9 spot. Your number 9 hitter is getting you big hits here in the postseason. Van de Viver gets on base. Volkman gets on base. Letson is just a really solid player. I mean, it's up and down their lineup that they're getting contributions. And this is how you win. And 10-4 over Lansing Catholic. Of all the results, this is probably the one that surprised me the most. Not that they won, but how easily they did it.
They did it like they're a program that's, you're playing Marine City. you're screwed. You don't have a chance. And they're just playing really good ball right now. 11:30 on Thursday is when they'll play Olivet in the state semifinals. Real quick as we wrap this up, Dennis, we were racking our brains because Marine City football made a semifinal. Now they do it in baseball. A lot of the kids on the baseball team play football. We've found a few instances of female athletes that have played in multiple Final Fours in the same school year. North Branch volleyball and softball players did it last year. Same combo of sports did it for Marysville once in the late 2000s. Mooney has had a couple kids that have played in different Final Fours, basketball and baseball, but not in the same season. We can't think of a time where in the same school year, an athlete played in the Final Four for two different sports. Now, Richmond, wrestling and baseball both made it. I don't think there was any overlap on those rosters. So this is kind of uncharted territory for Marine City.
Yeah, it's kind of wild. And again, when we talk about Marine City, the first thing that comes up, and rightfully so, is always football. Mm-hmm. And all the other sports are just there because kids need something to do when it's not football season.
Well, now the last 4 years for this senior group, 4 league titles, 2 district titles, a regional title, and a trip to the Final Four. You can say Marine City's got a pretty good program.
Yeah, I jokingly said to you, is this a baseball school now all of a sudden?
They've had a heck of a run. Again, 11:30 out at Michigan State against Olivet in the D3 semifinal. That'll do it for this week. We'll wrap up the school year and baseball and softball next week when we return on the Get Stuck on Sports TV edition right here on Thumbcoast TV.